We learn here in this letter that Don Pedro of Aragon comes this night to Messina.
He is very nearby. He was not 3 leagues off when I left him.
How many gentlemen have you lost in this action?
But few of any sort and none of note.
Victory is twice itself when the achiever brings home full numbers. I find here that Don Pedro hath bestowed much honour on a young Florentine named Claudio.
Much deserved on his part, and equally remembered by Don Pedro. He hath borne himself beyond the promise of his age, doing in the figure of a lamb the feats of a lion. He hath better in expectation than you must expect me to tell you how.
He hath an uncle here in Messina, will be very much glad of it.
I have already delivered him letters, and there appears much joy in him.
Did he break into tears?
in great measure.
A kind overflow of kindness. There are no faces truer than those that are so washed. How much better it is to weep at joy than to joy at weeping.
I pray you, hath Signor Montanto returned from the wars or no?
I know none of that name, lady. There was no such in the army of any sort.
What is he that you ask for, niece?
My cousin means Signor Benedick. Of Padua?
Oh, he's returned, and as pleasant as he ever was.
Set up his bills here in Messina and challenged Cupid for a flight, and my uncle's fool. Reading the challenge, subscribed to the Cupid and challenged him at a bird's fault. But I pray you, how many hath he killed and eaten in those wars? But how many hath he killed? For indeed I promised to eat all his killings.
Faith, niece, you tax Signor Benedick too much, but he'll meet with you, I doubt it not.
He hath done good service, lady, in these wars?
You had a musty victual, and he hath hopped to eat it. He's a very valiant trenchman. He hath an excellent stomach.
And a good soldier, too, lady.
And a good soldier to a lady. But what is he to a lord?
A lord to a lord. A man to a man, stuffed with all honourable virtue.
It is so indeed. He's no less than a stuffed man, but for the stuffing, well, all mortal.
You must not mistake my niece. There is a kind of merry war betwixt her and Signor Benedick. They never meet, but there's a skirmish of wit between them.
Alas, he gets nothing by that. In our last conflict, 4 of his 5 wits went halting off, and now he is a whole man governed with 1. So, if he hath wit to keep himself warm, let him bear it for a difference between himself and his horse. For it is all he hath left in the world to be known a reasonable creature. But I pray you, who is his companion now? He hath every month a new sworn brother.
It's possible.
Very easily possible. He wears his faith, but as a fashion of his hat, it ever changes with the next block.
I see. The gentleman is not in your book.
No, and he were, I would have burnt my study. But I pray you, who is his companion? Is there no young squire now that will make the voyage with him to the devil?
He is most in the company of the right noble Claudio.
Oh, Lord! He will hang upon him as a disease. He sooner caught the pestilence, and the taker runs presently mad. God help the noble Claudio. If he hath caught the Benedick, it cost him £1,000 ere be cured.
You will never run mad, niece.
No, not till hot January.
Don Pedro is approached.
Good Signor Leonato. You have come to meet your trouble. The fashion of the world is to avoid cost, and you encounter it.
Never came trouble to my house in the likeness of your grace. For trouble being gone, comfort should remain, but when you depart from me, sorrow abides, and happiness takes his leave.
Oh, you embrace your charge too willingly. I think this is your daughter.
Mother hath told me many times so.
Were you in doubt, sir, that you asked her?
Signor Benedick, no, for then you were a child.
You have it full, Benedick. We may guess by this what you are, being a man. Truly, the lady fathers herself. Be happy, lady, for you are like an honorable father.
If Signor Leonato be her father, she would not have his head on her shoulders for all of Messina, as like him as she is.
I wonder that you still be talking, Signor Benedick. Nobody marks you.
What, my dear Lady Disdain, are you yet living?
Is it possible Disdain should die when it has such a meat food to feed it as Signor Benedick? Courtesy itself must convert to disdain when you come in her presence.
Then is courtesy a turncoat? But it is certain I am loved of all ladies, only you excepted. And I could find in my heart that I have not a hard heart, for truly I love none.
A dear happiness to women, else they would have been troubled with a pernicious suitor. I thank Lord and my cold blood, I am of your humour for that. I would rather hear my dog bark at a crow than a man swear he loves me.
God keep your ladyship still in that mind, so some gentleman or other shall scape a predestinate scratched face.
Scratching could not make it worse if it were such a face as yours were.
Hell, you're a rare parrot teacher.
A bird of my tongue is better than a beast of yours.
I would my horse had the speed of your tongue, and so good a continuer, but keep your way, in God's name, I've done.
You always end on a jade's trick. I know you of old.
That is the sum of all, Leonato. Signor Claudio and Signor Benedick, my dear friend Leonato hath invited you all. I tell him we shall stay here at the least a month, and he heartily prays that some occasion may detain us longer. I dare swear he is no hypocrite, but prays from his heart.
If you swear, my lord, you shall not be forsworn. Let me bid you welcome, my lord. Being reconciled to the prince your brother, I owe you all duty.
I thank you. I'm not of many words, but I thank you.
Please it your grace, lead on.
By your hand, Leonato, we will go together.
Benedick, didst thou note the daughter of Signor Leonato?
I noted her not, but I looked on her.
Or is she not a modest young lady?
Do you question me, as an honest man should do, for my simple true judgment, or would you have me speak after my custom as a professed tyrant of their sex?
No, I pray thee speak in sober judgment.
Fine, i' faith. Methinks she is too low for a high praise, too brown for a fair praise, and too little for a great praise. Only this commendation I can afford her, that were she other than she is, she were unhandsome, and being no other but as she is, I do not like her.
Thou thinkest I'm in sport. I pray thee tell me truly how thou likest her.
Would you buy her, that you inquire after her?
Can the world buy such a jewel?
Yea, and a case to put it into. But speak you this with a sad brow, or do you play the flouting jack to tell us Cupid is a rare hair finder, and Vulcan a rare carpenter? Come, in what key shall a man take you to go in the song?
In mine eyes, she is the sweetest lady that ever I looked upon.
I can see yet without spectacles, and I see no such matter. There's her cousin, and she were not possessed with a fury, exceeds her as much in beauty as the first day of May doth the last of December. But I hope you have no intent of turning husband, do you?
I would scarce trust myself, though I had sworn to the contrary, if Hero would be my wife.
Oh, is to come to this? In faith, hath not the world one man, but he will wear his cap with suspicion? Shall I never see a bachelor of threescore again? Go to it, babe. And thou wilt needs thrust thy neck into a yoke, wear the print of it, and sigh away Sundays. Oh, look, Don Pedro has returned to seek you.
What secret hath held you here, that you follow not to Leonato's?
I would your grace constrain me to tell.
Oh, I charge thee on thy allegiance.
You hear, Count Claudio, I can be secret as a dumb man. I would have you think so, but on my allegiance, mark this, on my allegiance, he is in love. With who? Now, that is your grace's part. Mark how short his answer is. With Hero. Leonato's short daughter.
If it was so, so were it, Ussered.
Like the old tale, my lord, it is not so, naught was not so, but indeed, God forbid, it should be so.
If my passion change not shortly, God forbid it should be otherwise.
Amen, if you love her, for the lady is very well worthy.
You speak this to fetch me in, my lord.
By my troth, I speak my thought.
And in faith, my lord, I spoke mine.
And by my two faiths and troths, my lord, I spoke mine.
That I love her, I feel.
That she is worthy, I know.
Oh, that I neither feel how she should be loved, nor know how she should be worthy, is the opinion that fire cannot melt out of me. I will die in it at the stake.
Thou wast ever an obstinate heretic in the despite of beauty.
And never could maintain his part, but in the force of his will.
That a woman conceived me, I thank her. That she brought me up, I likewise give her most humble thanks. But that I will have a retreat wounded in my forehead, or hang my bugle in an invisible baldric, all women shall pardon me, because I will not do them the wrong to mistrust any. I will do myself the right to trust none. And the fine is, for which I may go the finer, I will live a bachelor.
I shall see thee, ere I die, look pale with love.
With anger, with sickness, or with hunger, my lord, not with love. Who that ever I lose more blood with love than I will get again with drinking? Pick out mine eyes with a ballad maker's pen and hang me up at the door of a brothel house with the sign of blind Cupid.
Well, if ever thou dost fall from this faith, thou wilt prove a notable argument.
If I do, hang me in a bottle like a cat and shoot at me. And he that hits me, let him be clapped on the shoulder and called Adam.
Well, as time shall try, in time the savage bull doth bear the yoke.
The savage bull may, but if ever the sensible Benedick bear it, pluck off the bull's horns and set them in my forehead, and let me be vilely painted in such great letters as they write, here is a good horse to hire. Let them signify under my sign, here may you see Benedick, the married man.
If ever this should happen, thou wouldst be horn mad.
Well, you temporize with the hours. In the meantime, good Signor Benedick, repair to Leonato's. Commend me to him, and tell him I will not fail him at supper. For indeed he hath made great preparation.
I have almost matter enough in me for such an embassage, and so I commit to you.
To the tuition of God from my house, if I have it.
The 6th of July, your loving friend, Benedick.
Nay, mock not, mock not. The body of your discourse is sometime guarded with fragments, and the guards are but slightly basted on neither. Ere you flout old ends any further, examine your conscience. And so I leave you.
Hath Leonato any son, my lord?
No child but Hero. She's his only heir. Dost thou affect her, Claudio?
My lord, when you went onward on this ended action, I looked upon her with a soldier's eye that liked, but had a rougher task in hand than to drive liking to the name of love. But now I am returned, and that war thoughts have left their places vacant, and in their rooms come thronging soft and delicate desires, all prompting me how fair young Hero is. Saying I liked her ere I went to wars.
Thou wilt be like a lover presently, and tire the Hero with a book of words. If thou dost love fair Hero, cherish it, and I will break with her and with her father, and thou shalt have her. Was not to this end that thou beganst to twist so fine a story?
How sweetly you do minister to love that none loves grief by his complexion. But lest my liking should too sudden seem, I would have salved it with a longer treatise.
I know we shall have reveling tonight. I will assume thy part in some disguise, and tell fair Hero I am Claudio. And in her bosom I'll unclasp my heart, and take her hearing prisoner with the force and strong encounter of my amorous tale. Then after to her father will I break, And in conclusion, she shall be thine. In practice, let us put it presently.
Oh no, brother. Where's my cousin, your son? Has he prepared the music, yeah?
Oh, he's very busy about it. But, brother, I can tell you strange news that you yet dreamt not of.
Are they good?
As the event stamps them, but they have a good cover, they show well outwards. The Prince and Count Claudio, walking in a thick-pleached alley in mine orchard, were thus much overheard by a man of mine. The Prince discovered to Claudio that he loved my niece, your daughter, and meant to acknowledge it this night in a dance. And if he found her accordant, he meant to take the present time by the top and instantly break with you of it.
Honey, hath he any wit that told you this?
A good sharp fellow. I'll send for him and question him yourself.
No. We will hold it as a dream till it appear itself, but I will acquaint my daughter with all, that she may be better prepared for an answer, if peradventure it be true.
What a good year, my lord. Why are you thus out of measure sad?
There is no measure in the occasion that breeds. Therefore the sadness is without limit.
You should hear reason.
And when I have heard it, what blessing brings it?
If not a present remedy, at least a patient sufferance.
I wonder that thou, being as thou sayest thou art born under Saturn, goest about to apply a moral medicine to a mortifying mischief. I cannot hide what I am. I must be sad when I have cause, and laugh at no man's jests. Eat when I have stomach, and wait on no man's leisure. Sleep when I am drowsy, and tend on no man's business. And laugh when I am merry, and claw no man in his humour.
Yea, but you must not make the full show of this till you may do it without controlment. You have of late stood out against your brother, and he hath ta'en you newly into his grace where it is impossible you should take true root, but by the fair weather you make yourself. It is needful you frame the season for your own harvest.
Well, I had rather be a canker in a hedge than a rose in his grace, and it better fits my blood to be disdained of all than to fashion a carriage to rob love from any. In this, though I cannot be said to be a flattering, honest man, it must not be denied that I'm a plain-dealing villain. I'm entrusted with a muzzle and enfranchised with a clog. Therefore, I have decreed not to sing in my cage. If I had my mouth, I would bite. If I had my liberty, I would do my liking. But in the meantime, let me be that I am, and seek not to alter me.
Can you make no use of your discontent?
I make all use of it, for I use it only. Who comes here? Oh, what news, Balthazar?
I came yonder from a great supper. The prince, your brother, is royally entertained by Leonato, and I can give you intelligence of an intended marriage.
Will it serve for any model to build mischief on? What is he for a fool that betroths himself to unquietness?
Marry, it is your brother's right hand.
Who? The most exquisite Claudio?
Even he.
A proper squire. And who? And who? Which way looks he?
Marry, on Hero, the daughter and heir of Leonato.
Come, let us thither. This may prove food to my displeasure. That young startup hath all the glory of my overthrow. If I can cross him any way, I bless myself every way. You are both sure and will assist me.
To the death, my lord.
Let us to the great supper. Their cheer is the greater that I am subdued.
Was not Count John here at supper?
I saw him not.
How tartly that gentleman looks. I can never see him, but I'm heartburnt an hour later.
He's of a very melancholy disposition.
He were an excellent man that were just in between him and Benedick. One is too like an image and says nothing. Other too like my lady's eldest son, ever more tattling.
Then half Signor Benedick's tongue in Count John's mouth, and half Count John's melancholy in Signor Benedick's face.
With a good foot and a good leg and money enough in his purse, uncle, such a man could win any woman in the world, if I could get in her goodwill.
By my troth, niece, thou wilt never get thee a husband if thou be so shrewd of thy tongue.
In faith, she is too cursed.
Too cursed is more than cursed. I will lessen God's sendings that way. For it is said, God sends a cursed cow short horns, but to a cow too cursed, he sends none.
So by being too cursed, God will send you no horns.
Just if he send me no husband. For the which blessing I'm at him upon my knees every morning and evening. Lord, I could never endure a husband with a beard on his face. I would rather lie in a woolen.
You may light on a husband that hath no beard.
And what shall I do with him? Dress him in my apparel and call him my waiting gentlewoman? He that hath a beard is more than a youth, and he that hath no beard is less than a man, and he that is more than a youth, he is not for me, and he that is less than a man, I am not for him. Therefore I will even take sixpence in earnest of the bear ward, and lead his apes into hell.
Well then, go you into hell.
No, but to the gate. And there will the devil meet me, like an old cuckold with horns on his head, and say, Get thee to heaven, Beatrice. Get thee to heaven. There is no place here for you, maids. So deliver I up my apes, and away to St. Peter for the heavens. He shows me where the bachelors sit, and there will live as happy as the day is long.
Well, niece, I trust you will be ruled by your father.
Yes, faith. It is my cousin's duty to make a curtsy and say, Father, as it please you.
Well, niece, I hope to see you one day fitted with a husband.
Not till God make man of some other metal than earth. Would it not grieve a woman to be overmastered by a piece of valiant dust? To make an account of her life to a clod of wayward marl? No, uncle, I'll none. Adam's sons are my brethren, and truly I hold it a sin to match in my kindred.
Daughter, remember what I told you. If the prince do solicit you in that kind, you know your answer.
The fault be in the music, cousin, if you not be wooed in good time. If the prince be too important, tell him there's a measure in everything, and so dance away the answer. For hear me, hero, wooing, wedding, and repenting is a Scotch jig, a measure, and a syncope. First suit is hot and hasty as a Scotch jig, and full as fantastical. The wedding, madly modest, as a measure, full of state and ancientry. And then comes repentance, and with his bad legs falls into a syncope faster and faster until he sank into his grave.
Cousin, you apprehend passing shrewdly.
I have a good eye, uncle. I can see a church by daylight.
Oh, the revellers are entering. Brother, make good room.
Lady, will you walk about with your friend?
So you walk softly and look sweetly and say nothing. I'm yours for the walk, especially when I walk away.
With me in your company?
You may say so when I please.
And when please you to say so?
When I like your favour. For God defend the lute should be like the case.
My visor is Philemon's roof. Within the house is Jove.
Why then, your visor should be thatched.
Speak low, if you speak love.
Well, I would you did like me.
So would not I, for your own sake, but I have many ill qualities.
Which is one.
I say my prayers aloud.
I love you the better. The hearers may cry, amen.
God, match me with a good dancer.
Amen.
And God keep him out of my sight when the dance is done. Answer, clerk.
No more words. Your clerk is answered.
I know you well enough. You are Signor Antonio.
At a word, I am not.
I know you by the waggling of your head.
To tell you true, I counterfeit him.
You could never do him so ill. Well, unless you were the very man. But here's his dry hand up and down. You are he. You are he.
At a word, I am not.
Come, come. Do you think I do not know you by your excellent wit? Can virtue hide itself? Go to, mum. You are he. Graces will appear, and there's an end.
Will you not tell me who told you so?
No, you shall pardon me.
Nor will you not tell me who you are?
Not now.
That I was disdainful, and that I had my good wit out of 100 merry tales. Ah, it was Senor Benedick that said so.
What's he?
I'm sure you know him well enough.
Not I, believe me.
Did he never make you laugh?
I pray you, what is he?
He is a prince's jester. A very dull fool. Only his gift is in devising impossible slanders. None but libertines delight in him, and the commendation is not in his wit, but in his villainy. For he both pleases men and angers them, and then they laugh at him and beat him. I'm sure he's in the fleet. I would he had boarded me.
When I know the gentleman, I'll tell him what you say.
Do. He'll but break a comparison or two on me, which peradventure, not marked or not laughed at, strikes him into melancholy. And then there is a partridge wing saved, for the fool will eat no supper that night.
Are not you Signor Benedick?
You know me well, I am he.
Signor, you are very near my brother in his love. He is enamoured on Hero. I pray you dissuade him from her. She is no equal for his birth. You may do the part of an honest man in it.
How know you he loves her?
I heard him swear his affection.
So did I too. He swore he would marry her tonight.
Come, let us to the banquet.
Thus answer I in the name of Benedick, yet hear these ill news with the ears of Claudio. 'Tis certain so, the prince woos for himself. Friendship is constant in all other things, save in the office and affairs of love. Therefore, let all hearts in love use their own tongues. Let every eye negotiate for itself and trust no agent. For beauty is a witch, against whose charms faith melteth into blood. This is an accident of hourly proof which I mistrusted not. Therefore, farewell, hero.
Count Claudio?
Yeah, the same.
Come, will you go with me?
Whither?
Even to the next willow, about your own business, County. What fashion will you wear your garland of? About your neck, like a usurer's chain, or under your arm like a lieutenant's scarf? You must wear it one way, for the prince hath got your hero.
Well, I wish him joy of her.
Why, that's spoken like an honest drovier, so they sell bullocks. But did you think the prince would have served you thus?
I pray leave me.
Ho! Now you strike like the blind man. 'Twas the boy stole your meat, and you'll beat the post.
If it will not be, I'll leave you.
Alas, poor hurt fowl. Now will he creep into sedges? That my lady Beatrice should know me and not know me. The prince's fool. Ha! It may be that I go under that title because I am merry. Yea, but so I am apt to do myself wrong. I am not so reputed. It is the base, though bitter disposition of Beatrice that puts the world into her person, and so gives me out. Well, I'll be revenged as I may.
Now, senor, where's the count? Have you seen him?
Troth, my lord, I have played the part of Lady Fame. I found him here as melancholy as a lodge in a warren. I told him, and I think I told him true, that your grace had got the goodwill of this young lady, and I offered him my company to a willow tree, either to make him a garland as being forsaken, or to bind him up a rod as worthy to be whipped.
To be whipped? What's his fault?
The flat transgression of a schoolboy who, being overjoyed with finding a bird's nest, shows it to his companion, and he steals it.
Wilt thou make trust a transgression? The transgression is in the stealer.
Yet it had not been amiss the rod had been made, and the garland too. For the garland he might have worn himself, and the rod he might have bestowed on you, who, as I take it, have stolen his bird's nest.
I will but teach them to sing, and restore them to the owner.
Singing answer your saying, by my faith. You say honestly.
The lady Beatrice hath a quarrel to you. The gentleman that danced with her told her she is much wronged by you.
She misused me past the endurance of a block. An oak with one green leaf on it would have answered her. My very visor began to assume life and scold at her. She told me, not thinking that I had been myself, that I was the prince's jester, that I was duller than a great Thor, huddling jest upon jest with such impossible conveyance upon me, that I stood like a man at a mark with a whole army shooting at me. She speaks poniards, and every word stabs. If her breath were as terrible as her terminations, there were no living near her. She would infect to the North Star. I would not marry her. She would have made Hercules turn spit, yea, and have cleft his club to make the fire too. Talk not of her. I would to God some scholar would conjure, for certainly, while she is here, a man may live as quiet in hell as in a sanctuary, and people sin upon purpose, because they would go thither. So, indeed, all disquiet, horror, and perturbation follows her.
Look, here she comes.
Will your grace command me any service to the world's end? I will go on the slightest errand now to the Antipodes that you can devise to send me on. I will fetch you a toothpicker now from the furthest inch of Asia, bring you the length of Prester John's foot, fetch you a hair off the great Cham's beard, do you any embassage to the pygmies rather than hold 3 words conference with this harpy. You have no employment for me?
None, but to desire your good company.
Oh, God, sir. Here's a dish I love not. I cannot endure my lady tongue.
Come, lady, come. You have lost the heart of Signor Benedick.
Indeed, my lord. He lent it me a while, and I gave him good use for it. A double heart for his single one. Mary, he once won it off me with false dice. Therefore, your grace is well to say that I have lost it.
You have put him down, lady. You have put him down.
So I would not hit do me, my lord, lest I should prove a mother of fools. I have brought Count Claudio, whom you sent me to seek.
Why, how now, Count? Wherefore are you sad?
Not sad, my lord.
How then? Sick?
Neither, my lord.
The Count is neither sad nor sick, nor merry, nor well, but a civil count. Civil as an orange, and something of that jealous complexion.
If faith, lady, I think your blazon to be true. Though I'll be sworn, if he be so, his conceit is false. Here, Claudio, I have wooed in thy name, and fair hero is won. I have broke with her father, and his goodwill obtained. Name the day of the marriage, and God give thee joy.
Count, take of me my daughter, and with her my fortunes. His grace hath made the match, and in grace say amen to it.
Oh, silence is the purest herald of joy. I am but a little happy if I could say how much. But lady, as you are mine, I am yours. I give away myself for you and dote upon the exchange.
Speak, cousin.
In faith, lady, you have a merry heart.
Indeed, my lord. I thank it, poor fool. My cousin tells him in his ear that he is in her heart.
And so she doth, cousin.
Good God for alliance! Thus goes everyone into the world but I, and I am sunburned. I may sit in the corner and cry, hey ho for a husband!
Lady Beatrice, I will get you one.
Uh-huh.
I would rather have one of your father's gettings. Does your grace near brother like you? Your father has excellent husbands, if a maid could come by them.
Will you have me, lady?
Oh, my lord. Unless I can get one for the working days. Your grace is too costly to wear every day. But I beseech your grace, pardon me. I was born to speak all mirth and no matter.
Niece, will you look to those things I told you of?
Cry you mercy, uncle, by your grace's pardon.
By my troth, a pleasant-spirited lady.
There's little of the melancholy element in her, my lord. She is never sad but when she sleeps, and not ever sad then, for I have heard my daughter say she hath often dreamed of unhappiness, and waked herself with laughing.
She cannot endure to hear tell of a husband.
Oh, by no means. She mocks all her wooers out of suit.
She were an excellent wife for Benedick.
Oh, Lord, my lord, if they were but a week married, they would talk themselves mad.
County Claudio, when mean you to go to church?
Tomorrow, my lord. Time goes on crutches till love have all his rights.
Not till Monday, my dear son.
Come on.
It is hence just a 7-night. Time too brief too, to have all things answer my mind.
Come, you shake your head at so long a breathing. But I warrant thee, Claudio, the time will not go dully by us.
Uh-huh.
I will, in the interim, undertake one of Hercules' labors, which is to take Signor Benedick and the Lady Beatrice into a mountain of affection, the one with the other. I would fain have it a match, and I doubt not but to fashion it, if you three will but minister such assistance as I shall give thee direction.
My lord, I am for you, though it cost me 10 nights' watchings.
And I, my lord.
And you too, gentle hero?
I will do any modest office, my lord, to help my cousin to a good husband.
And Benedick is not the unhopeless husband that I know. Thus far can I praise him. He is of a noble strain, of approved valor and confirmed honesty. I will teach you how to humor your cousin, that she shall fall in love with Benedick. And I, with your two helps, will so practice on Benedick that, in despite of his quick wit and his queasy stomach, he shall fall in love with Beatrice. If we can do this, Cupid is no longer an archer. His glory shall be ours, for we are the only love gods. Go in with me, and I will tell you my drift.
It is so. The Count Claudio shall marry the daughter of Leonato.
Yea, my lord, but I can cross it.
Any bar, any cross, any impediment will be medicinable to me. I am sick in displeasure to him, and whatsoever comes athwart his affection ranges evenly with mine. How canst thou cross this marriage?
Not honestly, my lord, but so covertly that no dishonesty shall appear in me.
Show me briefly how.
I think I told your lordship a year since how I am in the favour of Margaret, the waiting gentlewoman to Hero.
I remember.
I can, at any unseasonable instant of the night, appoint her to look out at her lady's chamber window.
What life is in that to be the death of this marriage?
The poison in that lies in you to temper. Go you to the prince your brother. Spare not to tell him how he hath wronged his honour by marrying the renowned Claudio, whose estimation you do mightily hold up, to a contaminated stale such a one as Hero.
What proof shall I make of that?
Proof enough to misuse the prince, to vex Claudio, to undo Hero, and kill Leonato. Look you for any other issue?
Only to despite them I will do anything.
Go then. Find me a meet hour to draw Don Pedro and the Count Claudio alone. Tell them that you know that Hero loves me. Intend a kind of zeal to both to the prince and Claudio, as in love of your brother's honour, who hath made this match, and his friend's reputation, who is thus like to be cozened with the semblance of a maid, that you have discovered thus. They will scarcely believe this about trial, offer them instances which will bear no less likelihood than to see me at her chamber window. Hear me call Margaret Hero, hear Margaret term me Claudio, and bring them to see this the very night before the intended wedding. For in the meantime, I will fashion the matter so that Hero will be absent, and there shall appear such seeming truth in her disloyalty that jealousy will be called assurance, and all the preparations overthrown.
Oh, grow this to what adverse issue it can. I will put it in practice. Be cunning in the working this, and thy fee is 1,000 ducats.
Be you constant in the accusation, and my cunning shall not fail me.
I will go presently to learn their day of marriage.
I do much wonder that one man, seeing how much another man is a fool when he dedicates his behaviours to love, will, after he hath laughed at such shallow follies in others, become the argument of his own scorn by falling in love. And such a man is Claudio. I have known when there was no music with him but the drum and the fife. And now he had rather hear the tabor and the pipe. I have known when he would have walked 10 mile afoot to see a good armour. And now he will lie 10 nights awake, carving the fashion of a new doublet. He was wont to speak plain and to the purpose, like an honest man and a soldier. And now he is turned orthography. His words are a very fantastical banquet, just so many strange dishes. May I be so converted and see with these eyes? I cannot tell. I think not. I will not be sworn. But Love may transform me to an oyster. He shall never make me such a fool. One woman is fair, yet I am well. Another is wise, yet I am well. Another virtuous, yet I am well. But till all graces be in one woman shall not come within my grace. Rich she shall be, that's certain. Wise, or I'll none. Virtuous, or I'll never cheapen her. Fair, or I'll never look on her. Mild, or come not near me. Noble, or not I for an angel. Of good discourse, an excellent musician, and her hair shall be of what colour God please. Ha! The prince and Monsieur Love, I will hide me in the arbour.
Come, come, shall we hear this music?
Yea, my good lord. Oh, how still the evening is, as hushed on purpose to grace harmony.
Come hither, Leonato. What was that you told me of today? That your niece Beatrice was in love with Signor Benedick?
Oh, I did never think that lady would have loved any man.
No, nor I neither. But most wonderful that she should so dote on Signor Benedick, whom she hath in all outward behaviours seemed ever to abhor.
Is it possible? Since the wind in that corner?
By my troth, my lord, I cannot tell what to think of it, that she loves him with an enraged passion. It is past the infinite of thought.
Maybe she doth but counterfeit.
Faith, like enough.
Oh, God. Counterfeit? There was never a counterfeit of passion came so near the life of passion as she discovers it.
Why? What effects of passion shows she?
What effects, my lord? She will sit you. You heard my daughter tell you how.
She did, indeed.
How, pray you? You amaze me. I would have I thought her spirit had been invincible against all assaults of affection.
I would have sworn it had, my lord, especially against Benedick.
I should think this is a gull, but that the white-bearded fellow speaks it. Knavery cannot sure hide itself in such reverence.
Has she made her affection known to Benedick?
No, and she swears she never will. That's her torment.
'Tis true indeed, so says your daughter. Shall I, says she, that have so oft encountered him with scorn, write to him that I love him?
This she says now when she is beginning to write to him. For she'll be up 20 times a night, and there will she sit in her smock till she have writ a sheet of paper. My daughter tells us all.
And now you talk of a sheet of paper, I remember a pretty jest your daughter told us of.
Oh, when she had written and was reading it over, she found Benedick and Beatrice between the sheet. She tore the letter into 1,000 ha'porths, railed at herself that she should be so immodest to write to one that she knew would flout her. I measure him, says she, by my own spirit, for I should flout him if he writ me, yea, though I love him, I should.
And then, down upon her knees she falls, weeps, sobs, beats her heart, tears her hair, prays, curses, oh sweet Benedick, God! Give me patience.
Indeed. My daughter says so, and the ecstasy hath so much overborne her that my daughter is sometimes afeard she will do a desperate outrage to herself. It is very true.
It were good that Benedick knew of it by some other, if she will not discover it.
To what end? He would but make a sport of it and torment the poor lady worse.
And he should. It were an alms to hang him. She's an excellent sweet lady, and out of all suspicion, she is virtuous.
And she is exceeding wise.
In everything, but in loving Benedick.
Oh, my lord, wisdom and blood combat against so tender a body We have 10 proofs to 1 that blood hath the victory. I'm sorry for her, as I have just cause, being her uncle and her guardian.
I would she had bestowed this dotage on me. But I would have daffed all other respects and made her half myself. I pray you, tell Benedick of it, and hear what I will say.
Word good, think you?
Here I think surely she will die. Oh, for she says she will die if he love her not. And she will die ere she make her love known. And she will die if he woo her, rather than she will abate one breath of her accustomed crossness.
She doth well. If she should make tender of her love, 'tis very possible he'll scorn it. For the man, as you know all, hath a contemptible spirit.
He is a very proper man.
He hath indeed a good outward happiness.
Before God, and in my eyes, very wise.
Doth indeed show some sparks that are like wit.
And I take him to be valiant.
Well, I am sorry for your niece. Shall we go seek Benedick and tell him of her love?
Never tell him, my lord. Let her wear it out with good counsel.
Nay, that's impossible. Should we wear her heart out first?
Well, we will hear further of it by your daughter. Let it cool the while. But I love Benedick well, and I could wish he would modestly examine himself to see how much he is unworthy so good a lady.
My lord, will you walk? Dinner is ready.
If he do not dote on her upon this, I will never trust my expectation.
Let there be the same net spread for her, and that must your daughter and her gentlewomen carry. The sport will be when they hold one an opinion of another's dotage, and no such matter. That's the scene that I would see, which will be merely a dumb show. Let us send her to call him into dinner.
This can be no trick. The conference of it was sadly born. They had the truth of this from Hero. They seem to pity the lady. It seems her affections have their full pent. Love me? Why, it must be requited. I hear how I am censured. They say I will bear myself proudly if I perceive the love come from her. They say, too, that she will rather die than give any sign of affection. I did never think to marry. I must not seem proud. Happy are they that hear their detractions and can put them to mending. They say the lady is fair. 'Tis a truth. I can bear them witness, and virtuous, 'tis so. I cannot reprove it. And wise, but for loving me, by my troth, it's no addition to her wit, nor no great argument of her folly, for I will be horribly in love with her. I may have, chance, some odd quirks and remnants of wit broken on me, because I've railed so long against marriage, but doth not the appetite alter? A man loves the meat in his youth that he cannot endure in his age. When I said I would die a bachelor, I did not think I should live till I were married. Here comes Beatrice. On this day, she is exceeding fair. I do spy some marks of love in her.
Against my will, I am sent to bid you come into dinner.
Fair Beatrice, I thank you for your pains.
I took no more pains for those thanks that you took the pains to thank me. If it had been painful, I would not have come.
You take pleasure in the message, then?
Yea, just as much as you might take upon a knife's point and choke a door withal. You have no stomach, senor. Very well.
Ha! Against my will, I am sent to bid you come in to dinner. There's a double meaning there in that. I took no more pains for those thanks than you took pains to thank me. That's as much as to say, any pains that I take for you is as easy as thanks. I will go get her picture.
Good Margaret, run thee to the parlour. There shalt thou find my cousin Beatrice proposing with the prince and Claudio. Whisper her ear and tell her I and Ursula walk in the orchard, and our whole discourse is all of her. Say that thou overheardst us, and bid her steal to the pleached bower where honeysuckles, ripened by the sun, forbid the sun to enter. There will she hide her to listen our purpose. This is thy office. Fare thee well in it, and leave us alone.
I'll make her come, I warrant you, presently.
Ursula, when Beatrice doth come, our talk must only be of Benedick. When I do name him, let it be thy part to praise him more than ever man did merit. My talk to thee must be how Benedick is sick in love with Beatrice. Of this matter is little Cupid's crafty arrow made, that only wounds by hearsay. Now begin, for look where Beatrice like a lapwing close by the ground to hear our conference. No, truly, Ursula, she is too disdainful. I know her spirits are as coy and wild as haggards of the rock.
But are you sure that Benedick loves Beatrice so entirely?
No, said the prince, and my new trust lord.
And did they bid you tell her of it, madam?
Well, they didn't entreat me to acquaint her of it. But I persuaded them, if they loved Benedick, to wish him wrestle with affection, never to let Beatrice know of it.
Why did you so? Doth not the gentleman deserve as full, as fortunate a bed as ever Beatrice shall couch upon?
Oh, God of love, I know he doth deserve as much as may be yielded to a man. But nature never framed a woman's heart of prouder stuff than that of Beatrice. Disdain and scorn ride sparkling in her eyes, misprizing what they look on. And her wit values itself so highly that to her all matter else seems weak. She cannot love, nor take no shape nor project of affection. She's so self-endeared.
Sure, I think so. And therefore certainly it were not good she knew his love, lest she make sport of it.
Why, you speak truth. I never yet saw man, how wise, how noble, young, how rarely featured, that she would spell him backward. If fair-faced, she would swear the gentleman should be her sister. If tall, a lance ill-headed. If low, an agate very vilely cut. If speaking, why a vane blown with all winds. If silent, why a block moved with none. So turns she every man the wrong side out, and never gives to truth and virtue that which simpleness and merit purchaseth.
Sure, such carping is not commendable.
No, not to be so odd and from all fashions as Beatrice is, cannot be commendable. But who dare tell her so? If I should speak, she would mock me into air, or she would laugh me out of myself, press me to death with wit. Therefore, let Benedick, like covered fire, consume away in sighs, waste inwardly, or a better death than die with mocks, which is as bad as die with tickling.
Yet tell her of it. Hear what she will say.
No. Father, I will go to Benedick, and wish him wrestle with his passion. And truly, I'll devise some honest slanders to stain my cousin with. One does not know how much an ill word may empoison liking.
Oh, do not do your cousin such a wrong. She cannot be so much without true judgment, having so swift and excellent a wit as she is prized to have, as to refuse so rare a gentleman as Signor Benedick.
Oh, he is the only man of Italy. Always accepted, my dear Claudio.
I pray you be not angry with me, speaking my fancy. Signor Benedick, for shape, for bearing, argument and valour, goes foremost in report through Italy.
Ah, indeed, he hath an excellent good name.
His excellence did earn it ere he had it. When are you married, madam?
Why, every day, tomorrow. Come, go in. I'll show thee some attires and have thy counsel which is best to furnish me tomorrow.
What? Fires in my ears. Can this be true? Stand I condemned for pride and scorn so much? Contempt, farewell, and maiden pride, adieu! No glory lives behind the back of such. And Benedick, love on! I will requite thee, taming my wild heart to your loving hands. If thou dost love, my kindness shall incite thee to bind our loves up in a holy band. For others say thou dost deserve, and I believe it better than reportingly.
I do but stay till your marriage be consummate, and then go I toward Aragon.
I'll bring you thither, my lord, if you'll vouchsafe me.
Nay, that would be as a great soil in the new gloss of your marriage as to show a child his new coat and forbid him to wear it. I will only be bold for Benedick for his company. For from the crown of his head to the sole of his foot, he is all mirth. He hath twice or thrice cut Cupid's bowstring, and the little hangman dare not shoot at him. He hath a heart as sound as a bell, and his tongue is the clapper. For what his heart thinks, his tongue speaks.
Gallants, I am not as I have been.
So say I. Methinks you're sadder.
I do hope you be in love.
Dang him, truant. There's no true drop of blood in him to be truly touched with love. Now, if he be sad, he wants money.
I have the toothache.
Draw it.
Hang it.
Nay, draw it first and then hang it afterwards.
What, sigh for the toothache?
Where is but a humour or a worm?
Well, everyone can master a grief, but he that has it.
Yet, say I, he is in love.
The greatest note of it is his melancholy.
Why does he want to wash his face?
Yea, or to paint himself. For the which, I hear what they say of him.
Nay, but his jesting spirit, which is now crept into a lute string and now governed by stops.
Indeed, this tale's a heavy tale for him. Conclude. He is in love.
Nay, but I know who loves him.
Yet is this no charm for the toothache? Old signor, walk aside with me. I have studied 8 or 9 wise words to speak to you, which these hobby horses must not hear.
For my life, to break with him about Beatrice.
It is even so. Hero and Margaret have by now played their part with Beatrice. So the two bears will not bite one another when they meet.
My lord and brother, God save you.
Good den, brother?
If your leisure served, I would speak with you.
In private?
If it please you. Yet the Count Claudio came here, for what I would speak of concerns him.
What's the matter?
Means your lordship to be married tomorrow?
You know he does.
I know not that, when he knows what I know.
If there be any impediment, I pray you discover it.
You may think I love you not. Let that appear hereafter, and aim better at me by that I now will manifest. For my brother, I do think he holds you well, and in dearness of heart, hath holp to effect your ensuing marriage. Surely suit ill spent and labour ill bestowed.
Why? What's the matter?
I came hither to tell you, and circumstances shortened, for she has been too long a talking of. The lady is disloyal.
Who, Hero?
The word is too good to paint out her wickedness. I could say she were worse. Think you of a worse title, and I will fit her to it. Wonder not till further warrant. Go but with me. Tonight you shall see her chamber window entered, even the night before her wedding day. If you love her then, tomorrow wed her, but it would better fit your honour to change your mind.
May this be so?
I will not think it.
If you dare not trust that you see, confess not that you know. If you will follow me, I will show you enough. And when you have seen more and heard more, proceed accordingly.
If I see anything tonight why I should not marry her tomorrow in the congregation, where I would be wed, there will I shame her.
And as I wooed for thee to obtain her, I will join with thee to disgrace her.
I will disparage her no further till you are my witnesses. Bear it coldly, but till midnight, and let the issue show itself.
Oh, day untowardly turned.
Oh, mischief strangely thwarting.
Oh, plague right well prevented. So will you say when you have seen the sequel.
Are you good men and true?
Or else it were a pity that they should suffer salvation, body and soul.
Nay, that were much too good a punishment for them, should they have any allegiance in 'em, being chosen for the prince's watch.
Well, give us our charge, neighbour Dogberry.
First, who here is the most desertless man to be constable?
Ooh, Hugh Oatcake. Or George Seacole, for they can write and read.
Come hither, neighbour Seacole. God hath blessed thee with a good name. To be a well-favoured man is the gift of fortune, but to read and write comes by nature.
Both which, Master Constable?
You have. I knew this would be your answer. Well, for your favour, sir, thank God, and make no boast of it. And for your reading and writing, let that appear when there is no need for such vanity. You are thought here to be the most senseless and fit man to be constable. Therefore, bear you the lantern. This is your charge. You are to apprehend all vagrant men and bid any man stand in the prince's name.
How if he will not stand?
Well, then take no note of him, and let him go, and then gather the rest of the watch together, and thank God you are rid of a knave.
If he will not stand when he is bidden, he is none of the prince's men.
And he shall meddle with none but the prince's men. You also will make no noise in the streets, for the watch to babble and to talk is most tolerable, and not to be endured.
We will rather sleep than talk. We know what belongs to a watch.
You speak like a most ancient and quiet watchman, for I cannot see how sleeping should offend, though have a care that your bills be not stolen. Well, you are to go round all the alehouses, and bid those that are drunk get them to bed.
How if they will not?
Then let them alone till they are sober, and if they give you not then the better answer, you may say they are not the men you took them for.
Well, sir...
If you should take a thief, you may by your office assume he is no true man. But with such kind of men, the less you meddle or make with them, the more is your honesty.
If we know him to be thief, shall we not lay hands on him?
Truly, by your office you may, but I believe those that touch pitch shall be defiled. The most peaceable way for you, if you take a thief, is to let him show himself for what he is and steal out of your company.
You have always been called a merciful man, partner.
I could not hang a dog by my will, much less a man who hath any honesty in him. This is the end of the charge. You, constable, are to present the prince's own person. If you see the prince in the street, you may stay him.
Nay, by Our Lady, I think I cannot.
5 shillings to 1 owned. Any man that knows the statutes, he may stay him. Marry, not the prince be willing, for indeed a watch ought not to cause offence, and it is an offence to stay a man against his will.
By Our Lady, I think it be so.
Well, masters, good night. And there be any matter of weight chances, call up me. Keep your fellows' counsels, and your own, and good night.
Well, we hear our charge. Let us go sit here upon the church bench till 2, and then all to bed.
One word more, good neighbours. Pray you watch Signor Leonato's door. The wedding being there tomorrow, there is a great coil tonight. Adieu. Be vigilant. I beseech you.
Balthazar!
Please, stir not.
Balthazar, I say!
Here I am, man. I'm at thy elbow.
Master, my elbow itched. I thought there would a scab follow.
I will owe thee an answer for that. Now on forward with thy tale.
Masters, yet stand close.
Therefore, now I have earned of Don John 1,000 ducats.
Is it possible that any villainy should be so dear?
Thou shouldst rather ask if it were possible any villainy should be so rich. For when rich villains have need of poor ones may make what price they will.
I wonder at it.
That shows thou art unconfirmed. Thou knowest that a fashion of a doublet or a hat or a cloak is nothing to a man.
But yes, it is apparel.
I mean the fashion.
Yea, the fashion is the fashion.
I may as well say the fool's a fool. Seest thou not what a deformed thief this fashion is?
I know that deformed. He has been a vile thief this 7 years, and he goes up and down like a gentleman. I remember his name.
Didst thou not hear somebody?
No, 'twas the vein on the house.
Yeah, not so neither. But no, I have tonight wooed Margaret, Lady Hero's gentlewoman, by the name of Hero. She leans me out at her mistress's chamber window, bids me 1,000 times good night. I tell this tale vilely. I should first tell thee how the prince and Claudio and my master are planted and placed and possessed by my master Don John, so afar off in the orchard this amiable encounter.
And thought they Margaret was Hero?
2 of them did, the prince and Claudio, but the devil my master knew was Margaret, and partly by his oaths which first possessed her, and partly by the dark night which did deceive them, but chiefly by my villainy which did confirm any slander that Don John had made. Away went Claudio, enraged, and swore he would meet her as appointed next morning at the temple, and there, before the whole congregation, shame her with what he heard overnight and send her home again without her husband.
We charge you in the prince's name, stand.
Call up the Master Constable. We have here recovered the most dangerous piece of lechery that was ever known in the Commonwealth.
Good Ursula, wake my cousin Beatrice and desire her to rise.
I will, lady.
Or bid her come hither.
Well.
Troth, I think your other rubato were better.
No, I pray thee, good beggar, wear this.
By my troths, not so good, and I warrant your cousin will say so.
Well, my cousin's a fool, and thou art another. I'll wear none but this.
I like the new tire, within excellently, if the hair were a thought browner. And your gown's a most rare fashion. I'faith, I saw the Duchess of Milan's gown that they praise so.
Oh, that exceeds, they say.
By my troths, but a nightgown in respect of yours. Cloth of gold, and cuts laced with silver, set with pearls, down sleeves, side sleeves, and skirts round, underborne with a bluish tinsel, but for a fine, quaint, graceful, and excellent fashion. Yours is worth 10 on it.
God give me joy to wear it. My heart is exceeding heavy.
You'll be heavier soon by the weight of a man.
Fie on me, I'm not ashamed.
Of what, lady? Of speaking honourably? Is not marriage honourable in a beggar? Is not your lord honourable without marriage? I think you would have me say, saving your reverence, a husband. And bad thinking do not rest true speaking. I'll offend nobody. Is there any harm in the heavier for a husband? None, I think. And it be the right husband and the right wife. Otherwise 'tis light and not heavy. Ask my lady Beatrice else. Here she comes.
Good morrow, coz.
Good morrow, sweet hero.
Why, how now? Speak you in the sick tune?
I'm all out of other tune, methinks. It's almost 5 o'clock, cousin. It's time you were ready. Oh, by my troth, I am exceeding ill. Hey-ho.
For a hawk, a horse, or a husband?
For a letter that begins them all, H.
Well, and you not be turned Turk, there's no more sailing by the star.
What means the fool, trow?
Nothing, aye. But God send everyone their heart's desire.
These gloves the Count sent me. They're an excellent perfume.
I am stuffed, cousin. I cannot smell.
A maid and stuffed. There's goodly catching of a cold.
Oh, God help me, God help me. How long have you professed apprehension?
Even since you left it, doth not my wit become me, rarely?
It is not seen often enough. Should wear it on your cap. Oh, by my troth, I am sick.
Get you some of this distilled Carduus Benedictus and lay it to your heart. It is the only thing for a qualm.
There thou prickest her with a thistle.
Benedictus? Why Benedictus? You have some moral in this Benedictus.
Moral? No. By my troth, I have no moral meaning. I meant plain holy thistle. You may think perchance that I think you are in love. Nay, by Our Lady, I'm not such a fool to think what I list, nor I list not to think what I can, nor indeed I cannot think if I would think my heart out of thinking that you are in love, or that you will be in love, or that you can be in love. Yet, Benedick was such another, and now he is become a man. He swore he would never marry, and yet now, in despite of his heart, he eats his meat without grudging. And how you may be converted, I know not, but methinks you look with your eyes as other women do.
What pace is this your tongue keeps?
Not a false gallop.
Madam, withdraw. The prince, the count, Signor Benedick, Don John, and all the gallants of the town are come to fetch you to church.
Help to dress me, good cuz. Goodbye, good Ursula. Ah!
What would you with me, honest neighbour?
Marry, sir, I would have some confidence with you that discerns you nearly.
Well, brief, I pray you, for you see it is a busy time with me.
Marry, this it is, sir.
Yes, in truth it is, sir.
What is it, my good friends?
Marry, sir, our watch tonight, accepting your worship's presence, have taken as arrant a knave as any in Messina.
A good old man, sir. He will be talking. As they say, when the age is in, the wit is out. God help us, it is a world to see. Well said. If faith, neighbour Verges. Well, God's a good man, and two men ride of a horse, well, one must ride behind. An honest man, by my troth, sir, he is as ever broke bread. But God is to be worshipped, and all men are not alike. Alas, good neighbour.
Indeed, neighbour, he comes too short of you.
Oh, gift that God gives.
I must leave you.
A word, sir. Our watch, sir, have apprehended a most auspicious person who we would have this morning examined before your worship.
Take their examination yourself and bring it to me. I am now in great haste, as it may appear unto you.
It shall be suffragance.
Drink some wine ere you go.
Oh. Go, good neighbour, go. Get thee to Francis Seacole. Bid him bring his pen and inkhorn to the jail. We are now to examination this man.
And we must do it wisely.
We shall bear for no wit, I warrant you. Here's that shall drive some of them to a noncom. Only bid the learned writer set down our excommunication and meet me at the jail.
Bye.
Come, Friar Francis, be brief, only to the plain form of marriage, and you shall recount their particular duties afterwards.
You come hither, my lord, to marry this lady?
No.
To be married to her, Friar. You come to marry her.
Lady, you come hither to be married to this count? Well, if any of you know of any inward impediment where you should not be conjoined, charge you on your souls to utter it.
Know you any, hero?
None, my lord.
Know you any, count?
I dare make his answer, none.
Well, what men dare do, what men may do, what men daily do, not knowing what they do.
How now? Interjections? What? Why then? Some be of laughing, as ha, hey.
Stand thee by, Friar. By your leave, will you, with free and unconstrained soul, give me this maid, your daughter?
As freely, son, as God did give her me.
And what may I give you back, whose worth may counterpoise this rich and precious gift?
None, unless you render her again.
Sweet prince, you learn me noble thankfulness. There, Leonato, take her back again. Give not this rotten orange to your friend. She's but the sign and semblance of her honour. Behold, how like a maid she blushes here. Oh, what authority and show of truth can cunning sin cover itself with? All that comes not this blood as modest evidence to witness simple virtue? Would you not swear, all you that see her, that she were a maid by this exterior show, but she is none? She knows the heat of a luxurious bed. Her blush is guiltiness, not modesty.
What do you mean, my lord?
Not to be married. Not to knit my soul to this approved wanton.
Oh, dear my lord, if you, in your own proof, have vanquished the resistance of her youth and made defeat of her virginity...
I know what you would say. If I have known her, you would say that she did embrace me as a husband and so extenuate the forehand sin. No, Leonato! I never tempted her with word too large, but as a brother to a sister showed bashful sincerity and comely love.
And seemed I ever otherwise to you?
Seeming? I'll write against it. You did seem to me, as Diane in her orb, as chaste as is the bud ere it be blown. But your blood is as intemperate as Venus, or those pampered animals that rage in savage sensuality.
Is my lord well that he doth speak so wide?
The sweet prince, why speak not you?
What should I speak? I stand dishonored that have gone about to link my dear friend to a common scale.
Are these things spoken, or do I but dream?
Sir, they are spoken, and these things are true.
This looks not like a nuptial.
True! Oh, God.
Leonato, stand I here. Is this the prince? Is this the prince's brother? Is this face heroes? Are our eyes our own?
All this is so... But what of this, my lord?
Let me but move one question to your daughter, and by that fatherly and kindly power you have in her, bid her answer truly.
I charge thee do so, as thou art my child.
God defend me how I am beset. What kind of catechizing call you this?
Make you answer truly to your name.
Is it not Hero? Who can blot that name with any just reproach?
Marry, that can Hero. Hero itself can blot out Hero's virtue. Who was he that talked with you yesternight? Out of your window betwixt the hours of 12 and 1. Now, if you were a maid, answer to this.
I spoke with no man at that hour, my lord.
Why, then are you no maiden? Leonato, I am sorry you must hear. Upon mine honor, myself, my brother, and this grieved count did see her, hear her at that hour last night, talk with a ruffian at her chamber window, who hath indeed, most like a liberal villain, confessed the vile encounters they have had 1,000 times in secret.
Fie, they are not to be named, my lord, not to be spoken of. These things, there is not chastity enough in language without offence to utter them. Therefore, pretty lady, I am sorry for thy much misgovernment.
Oh, hero. What a hero hadst thou been, if half thy outward graces were placed about thy heart and counsel of thy thoughts. Fare thee well, most foul, most fair. Fare thee well, most foul, most fair. Farewell, thou pure impiety and impious purity. For thee, I'll lock up all the gates of love, and upon my eyelids may conjecture hang to turn all beauty into thoughts of harm, and never shall it more be gracious.
Have no man's dagger here, point for me.
Why, how now, cousin? Wherefore sink you down?
Come, let us go. These things come thus to light, smother her spirits up.
How doth the lady?
Dead, I think. Hero. Why, Hero! Uncle, Signor Benedick, Friar!
Oh, fate, take not away thy heavy hand. Death is the fairest cover for her shame that may be wished for.
Oh, now, cousin Hero.
Have comfort, lady.
Dost thou look up?
Yea, wherefore should she not?
Wherefore? Why, doth not every earthly thing cry shame upon her? Could she here deny the story that is printed in her blood? Do not live, Hero, do not open thine eyes. For did I think thou wouldst not quickly die, thought I thy spirits were stronger than thy shames, myself would on the rearward of reproaches strike at thy life. Grieved I had but one. Chide I for that at frugal nature's frame. Oh, one too much by thee. Why had I won? Why ever wast thou lovely in mine eyes? Why had I not by charitable hand took up a beggar's issue at my gates, who smirched thus and mired with the infamy? I might have said, no part of it is mine. This shame derives itself from unknown loins, but mine and mine I loved, and mine I praised, and mine I was proud on. Mine so much that I myself was so to myself not mine. Valuing of her, why she is fallen into a pit of ink, that the wide sea hath drops too few to wash her clean again, and salt too little, which may season give to her foul tainted flesh.
Sir, be patient. For my part, I am so attired in wonder, I know not what to say.
Oh, on my soul, my cousin is belied.
Lady, were you her bedfellow last night?
No, truly not. Although until last night I have been those 12 months her bedfellow.
Confirmed, confirmed! Oh, that is stronger maid, which was before barred up with ribs of iron, where the two princes lie, and Claudio lie, who loved her, so that, speaking of her foulness, washed it with tears. Hence from her! Let her die!
Hear me a little, for I have only been silent so long and given unto this course of fortune. By noting of the lady, I have marked 1,000 blushing apparitions to start into her face. 1,000 innocent shames in angel whiteness beat away those blushes, and in her eye hath appeared a fire to burn the error that these princes hold against her maiden truth. Call me a fool, trust not my readings nor my observations, which with experimental seal doth warrant the tenor of my book. Trust not my age, my cooling reverence, nor divinity, if this sweet lady lie not guiltless here under some biting error.
Friar, it cannot be. Thou seest that all the grace that she hath left is that she will not add to her damnation a sin of perjury. She not denies it. Why seekest thou then to cover with excuse that which appears in proper nakedness?
Lady, what man is he you are accused of?
I know that do accuse me. I know none. I know more of any man alive than that which maiden modesty doth warrant. Let all my sins lack mercy. O my father, prove you that any man with me conversed at hours unmeet, or that I yesternight maintained the change of words with any creature, refuse me, hate me, torture me to death.
There is some strange misprison in the princes.
2 of them have the very bent of honour, and if their wisdoms be misled in this, the practice of it lies in John the Bastard, whose spirits toil in frame of villainies.
I know not. If they speak but truth of her, these hands shall tear her. If they wrong her, the proudest of them shall wail hear of it.
Pause a while. Let my counsel sway you in this case. Your daughter here, the prince, is left for dead. Let her a while be secretly kept in, and publish it that she is dead indeed. Maintain a mourning ostentation, and on your family's old monument hang mournful epitaphs, and do all rites that appertain unto a burial.
What good shall come of this? What will this do?
Marry, this will carry shall on her behalf change slander to remorse. That is some good. For she dying, as it must so be maintained upon the instant that she was accused, shall be lamented, pitied, and excused of every hearer. It so falls out that what we have we prize not to the worth whilst we enjoy it, but being lacked and lost, why then we rack the value. Then we find virtue that possession would not show us whilst it was ours. So will it fare for Claudio when he shall hear she died upon his words. The idea of her life will sweetly creep into his study of imagination, and every lovely organ of her life shall come apparelled in more precious habit than ever it did in life. Then shall he mourn, and wish he had not so accused her. No, but he thought his accusation true, let this be so. But doubt not that success will fashion the event in better shape than I can lay it down in likelihood. But if all aim but this be levelled false, the supposition of a lady's death will quench the wonder of her infamy. And if it sought not well, you may conceal her as best befits her wounded reputation in some reclusive and religious life out of all eyes, tongues, minds, and injuries.
Leonato, let the friar advise you. And though you know my inwardness and love is very much unto the prince and Claudio, yet, by mine honour, I will deal in this as secretly and justly as your soul should with your body.
Being that I flow in grief, the smallest twine may leave me.
'Tis well consented. Presently away, for to strange sores strangely they strain the cure. Come, lady, die to live. This wedding day is but perhaps prolonged. Have patience and endure.
Lady Beatrice, have you wept all this while?
Yea, and I will weep a while longer.
I will not desire that.
You have no reason. I do it freely.
Surely, I do believe your fair cousin is wronged.
How much might a man deserve of me that would right her?
Is there any way to so show such friendship?
A very even way, but no such friend.
May a man do it?
It is a man's office, but not yours.
I do love nothing in the world so well as you. Is not that strange?
Strange as the thing I know not. It were as possible for me to say, I loved nothing as well as you, but believe me not, and yet I lie not. I confess nothing, nor I deny nothing. I am sorry for my cousin.
By my sword, Beatrice, thou lovest me.
Do not swear and eat it.
I will swear by it that you love me, and I will make him eat it that says, I love you not.
You will not eat your word.
With no source that can be devised, I protest I love thee.
Oh, God forgive me.
What offence, sweet Beatrice?
You have stayed me in a happy hour. I was about to protest I loved you.
And do it with all thy heart.
I love you with so much of my heart that none is left to protest.
Come, bid me do anything for thee.
Kill Claudio.
Not for the wide world.
You kill me to deny it. Farewell.
Harry, sweet Beatrice.
You dare easier be friends with me than fight with mine enemy.
Is Claudio thine enemy?
Is he not approved in a height a villain that hath slandered, scored, dishonoured my kinswoman? Oh God, but I were a man. What? bear her in hand until they come to take hands, and then with public accusation, uncovered slander, unmitigated rancor, oh God, that I were a man! I would eat his heart in a marketplace.
Hear me, Beatrice.
Princes and counties, surely, a princely testimony, a goodly Count Consett, a sweet gallant, surely. Oh, what I were a man for his sake, or that I had any friend be a man for my sake. But manhood has melted into curtsy, valour into compliment, and men only turn into tongues, and trim ones too. He is now as valiant as Hercules that only tells a lie and swears it. I cannot be a man with wishing, therefore I will die a woman with grieving.
Tarry, good Beatrice, by this hand I love thee.
Use it for my love some other way than swearing by it.
Think you in your soul that Count Claudio hath wronged Hero?
Yea, as sure as I have a heart or a soul.
Enough. I am engaged. I will challenge him. I will kiss your hand, and so I leave you. By this hand, Claudio shall render me a dear account. As you hear of me, so think of me. Go, comfort your cousin. I must say she is dead, and so farewell.
Is our whole assembly appeared?
Which be the malefactor?
Marry, that am I and my partner.
Nay, that's certain. We have an exhibition to examine.
But which is the offender that is to be examined? Let him come before the Master Constable.
Marry, yea, let him come before me. What is your name, friend?
Conrade.
Pray you, write down Conrad. Do you serve God?
I hope so, sir.
Write down that he hopes he serves God, but write God first, for God defend, but God should go before such a villain. Master, it is already proved that you are little better than a false knave, and it will go near to be thought so shortly. How answer you for yourself?
Marry, sir, I say I am none.
A marvellous witty fellow, I assure you, but I will go about with him.
Master Constable, you go not the way to examine. You must call forth the watch that is his accuser.
Marry, that's the eftest way. Allow the watch to come forth. Masters, I charge you, in the prince's name, accuse this man.
This man said, sir, that Don John, the prince's brother, was a villain.
Why, this is flat perjury to call a prince's brother villain.
Master Constable,
Pray thee, fellow, peace. I do not like thy tone, I assure you.
What heard you him say else?
Marry, that he had received 1,000 ducats of Don John for accusing the lady Hero wrongfully.
Flat burglary as ever was committed.
What else, fellow?
And that Count Claudio did mean upon his words to disgrace Hero before the whole assembly and not marry her.
Oh, villain, thou wilt be condemned into everlasting redemption for this.
What else?
This is all.
And this is more, masters, than you can deny. Prince John is this morning secretly stolen away. Hero was in this manner accused, and in this very manner refused. And upon the grief of this, suddenly died. Master Constable, let this man be bound and brought to Leonato's. I will go before and show him their examination.
Come, let him be opinioned.
You are an ass. You are an ass.
Dost thou not suspect my place? Dost thou not suspect my years? Oh, but he were here to write me down an ass. Remember, masters, that I am an ass, though it be not writ down yet. Forget not that I am an ass. No, villain, thou art full of piety, as it will be proved unto thee by good witness. I am a wise man, and which is more, an officer, and which is more, a householder, and which is more, as pretty a piece of flesh as any is in Messina, and one that knows the law, go to, and one that is a rich fellow enough, go to, and one that hath had losses, and one that hath 2 gowns, and everything handsome about him. Bring him away. Oh, that I had been writ down an ass.
If you go on thus, you will kill yourself. And 'tis not wisdom thus to second grief against yourself.
Pray thee cease thy counsel. Bring me a father that so loved his child, whose joy of her is overwhelmed like mine, and bid him speak of patience. Measure his woe, the length and breadth of mine, and let it answer every strain for strain. And thus, for thus, in such a grief, for such, in every lineament, branch, shape, and form. But there is no such man, for, brother, men can counsel and speak comfort to that grief which they themselves not feel, but, tasting it, their counsel turns to passion, charm, ache with air, and agony with words. No, 'tis all men's office to speak patience to those that wring under the load of sorrow, but no man's virtue nor sufficiency to be so moral when he shall endure the like himself. Therefore give me no counsel, my griefs cry louder than advertisement.
Therein do men from children nothing differ.
I pray thee, peace. I will be flesh and blood, for there was never yet philosopher that could endure the toothache patiently. However, they have writ the style of gods and made a push at chance and sufferance.
Yet bend not all the harm upon yourself. Make those that do offend you suffer too.
There thou speakest reason. Nay, I will do so. My soul doth tell me Hero is belied, and that shall Claudio know. So shall the prince, and all of them that dishonour her.
Here come the prince and Count Claudio hastily.
Good den, good den.
Good day to both of you.
Hear you, my lords.
We have some haste, Leonato.
Some haste, my lord? Well, fare you well, my lord. Are you so hasty now? Well, all is one.
Nay, do not quarrel with us, good old man.
If he could right himself by quarrelling, some of us would lie low.
Who wrongs him?
Marry, thou dost wrong him. Thou December, thou... Nay, never lay thy hand upon thy sword, I fear thee not.
Marry, beshrew my hand. If it should give your age such cause of fear of faith, my hand meant nothing to my sword.
Tush, man, never fleer and jest at me. I speak not like a dotard nor a fool. No, Claudio, to thy head. Thou hast so wronged mine innocent child and me, that I am forced to lay my reverence by, and with grey hairs and bruise of many days do challenge thee to trial of a man. I say thou hast belied mine innocent child. My slander hath gone through and through her heart, and she lies buried with her ancestors, oh, in a tomb where never scandal slept, save this of hers framed by thy villainy.
My villainy?
Thine, Claudio. Thine, I
You say not right, old man.
Canst thou so doubt me? Thou hast killed my child. If thou killst me, boy, thou shalt kill a man.
He shall kill 2 of us. And men, indeed, but that's no matter. Let him kill 1 first. Win me and wear me. Let him answer me. Come, come, follow me, boy. Come, sir, boy. Come, follow me, sir, boy. I'll whip you from your foining fence. Nay, as I am a gentleman, I will. Content myself. God knows I loved my niece, and she is dead. slandered to death by villains that dare as well answer a man, indeed, as I dare take a serpent by the tongue. Boys, apes, braggarts, jacks, milksops.
Brother
Hold
Antonio.
you content, what man? I know them, yea, and what they weigh, even to the utmost scruple, scrambling, outfacing, fashion-monging boys that lie and cog and flout, deprave and slander, go antically, show outward hideousness, and speak off half a dozen dangerous words how they might hurt their enemies if they durst. And this is all.
But Brother Antonio!
Come, 'tis no matter. Do not you meddle. Let me deal in this.
Gentlemen both, we will not wake your patience. My heart is sorry for your daughter's death, but on my honor, she was charged with nothing but what was true and very full of proof.
My lord. My lord.
I will not hear you.
No? Come, brother. Away. I will be heard.
And shall, or some of us will smart for it.
See, here comes the man we went to see.
Now, senor, what news?
Good day, my lord.
Welcome, senor. You are almost come to part almost a fray.
We had like to have had our two noses snapped off by two old men without teeth.
Leonato and his brother. What thinkest thou? Had we fought, I doubt we should have been too young for them.
In a false quarrel, there is no true valor. I came to seek you both.
We have been up and down to seek thee, for we are high-proof melancholy and would fain have it beaten away. Will you use your wit?
It is in my scabbard. Shall I draw it?
Dost thou wear thy wit by thy side?
Never any did so, though very many have been said to be beside their wit. I will bid thee draw, as we do the minstrel's draw and pleasure us.
As I am an honest man, he looks pale. Art thou sick or angry?
What? Courage, man! What though care killed a cat? Thou hast mettle enough in thee to kill care.
Sir, I shall meet your wit in the career, and you charge it against me. I pray you choose another subject.
Nay then, get him another staff. This last one is broke cross.
By the sleight, he changes more and more. I think he be angry indeed.
If he be, he knows how to turn his girdle.
Shall I speak a word in your ear?
Oh, God bless me from a challenge.
You are a villain.
What?
I jest not. I will make it good how you dare, with what you dare, and when you dare. Do me right, or I will protest your cowardice. You have killed a sweet lady, and her death shall fall heavy on you. Let me hear from you.
Well, then I will meet thee, so I may have good cheer.
What, a feast? A feast?
In faith, I thank him. For he hath bid me to a calf's head and a capon, the which, if I do not carve most curiously, say my nice nought. Shall I not find the woodcock too?
Sir, your wit ambles well. It goes easily.
But when shall we set the savage bull's horns on the sensible Benedick's head?
With text underneath, here dwells Benedick, the married man.
Very well, boy. You know my mind. I will leave you now to your gossip-like humour. You break jests as braggarts to their blades, which, God be thanked, hurt not. My lord, for your many courtesies, I thank you. I must discontinue your company. Your brother the bastard is fled from Messina. You have among you killed a sweet and innocent lady. For my lord Lackbeard there, he and I shall meet. Until then, peace be with him.
He is in earnest.
Most profound earnest. And I'll warrant you for the love of Beatrice.
And hath challenged thee.
Most sincerely.
What a pretty thing man is when he goes in his doublet and hose and leaves off his wit.
He is then a giant to an ape. Though is then an ape a doctor to such a man?
But soft you, let me be. Pluck up my heart and be sad. Did he not say my brother was fled?
Come you, sir, if justice cannot tame you, she shall ne'er weigh more reasons in her balance. And you being a cursing hypocrite once, you must be looked to.
Oh, now, one of my brother's men bound.
Hearken after the offence, my lord.
Officers, what offence has this man done?
Marry, sir, he has committed false report. Moreover, he has spoken untruth. Secondarily, he is a slanderer. Sixth and lastly, he has belied a lady. Thirdly, he has verified unjust things. And to conclude, he is a lying knave.
Firstly, I ask thee what he has done. Thirdly, I ask thee what's his offence. Sixth and lastly, why is he committed? And to conclude, what you lay to his charge.
Rightly reasoned, and in his own division. And by my troth, there's one meaning well suited.
Who have you offended, master, that you are thus bound to your answer? This learned constable is too cunning to be understood. What's your offence?
Sweet prince, let me go no farther to mine answer. Do you hear me, and let this count kill me? I have deceived even your very eyes. What your wisdoms could not discover, these shallow fools have brought to light, who, even I overheard me confessing how Don John, your brother, incensed me to slander the lady hero, how you were brought into the orchard and saw me court Margaret in hero's garments, how you disgraced her when you should marry her. And my villainy they have upon record, which I had rather seal with my death than repeat over to my shame. The lady is dead upon mine and my master's accusation. And briefly, I desire nothing but the reward of a villain.
Runs not this speech like iron through your blood?
I have drunk poison whilst he uttered it.
But did my brother set thee on to this?
Yea, and paid me richly in the practice of it.
He is composed and framed of treachery, and fled he is upon this villainy.
Sweet hero, now thy image doth appear in that rare semblance that I loved it first.
Come, bring away the plaintiff. By this time our sexton hath reformed Signor Leonato of the matter. And masters, remember to specify, when time and place shall serve, that I am an ass.
Here comes Senior Leonato, and the sexton too.
And which is the villain? Let me see his eyes, that when I note another man like him, I may avoid him. Which of these is he?
If you would know your wrong, look on me.
Art thou the slave that with thy breath hast killed mine innocent child?
Yea, even I alone.
Oh, no, not so, villain. Thou beliest thyself. Here stand a pair of honourable men. A third is fled that had a hand in it. I thank you, princes, for my daughter's death. Record it with your high and worthy deeds. 'Twas bravely done, if you bethink you of it.
I know not how to pray your patience, yet I must speak. Choose your revenge yourself. Impose me to what penance your invention can lay upon my sin, yet sinned I not, but in mistaking.
By my soul, nor I. And yet, to satisfy this good old man, I would bend under any heavy weight that he'll enjoin me to.
I cannot bid my daughter live. That were impossible. But I pray you both, possess the people in Messina here how innocent she died. And if your love can labour aught in sad invention, hang her an epitaph upon her tomb. And tomorrow morning, come you to my house. And since you could not be my son-in-law, be yet my nephew. My brother hath a daughter, almost the copy of my child that's dead, and she alone is heir to both of us. Give her the right that you should have given her cousin, and so dies my revenge.
Noble sir, your overkindness doth wring tears from me.
I do embrace your offer and henceforth dispose of poor Claudio.
Tomorrow then, I expect you're coming. Tonight, I take my leave. This naughty man shall face to face be brought with Margaret, who I believe was packed in all this wrong, hired to it by your brother.
No, by my soul, she was not. Nor knew not what she did when she spoke to me, but hath always been just and virtuous in anything I do know by her.
Moreover, sir, which indeed is not under white and black, the plaintiff here, the offender, did call me ass. I beseech you, let it be remembered in his punishment.
I thank thee for thy care and honest pains.
Your worship speaks like a most thankful and reverent youth. I praise God for you.
Well, there's for thy pains.
Oh, God save the foundation.
Go. I discharge thee of thy prisoner, and I thank thee.
I leave an arrant knave with your worship. I beseech your worship, correct him yourself as an example for others. God keep your worship. I wish your worship well. God restore you to health. I humbly give you leave to depart, but if a merry meeting may be wished, God prohibit it. Come, neighbour.
Until tomorrow morning, lords. Farewell.
We will not fail.
Night, I'll mourn with Hero.
Bring you these fellows on. We'll talk with Margaret. How her acquaintance grew with this lewd fellow.
Pray thee, sweet Mistress Margaret, deserve well at my hands by helping me to the speech of Beatrice.
Will you then write me a sonnet in praise of my beauty?
In so high a style, Margaret, that no man living shall come over it, for in most comely truth thou deservest it.
To have no man come over me? Why, shall I always keep below the stairs?
Thy wit is as quick as the greyhound's mouth. It catches.
And yours as blunt as the fencer's foils, which hit, but hurt not.
Most manly wit, Margaret. It will not hurt a woman, and so I pray thee, call Beatrice. I give thee the bucklers.
Give us the swords. We have bucklers of our own.
If you use them, Margaret, you must put in the pikes with a vice, and they are dangerous weapons for maids.
Well, I will call Beatrice to you, who I think hath legs.
And therefore will come. The god of love that sits above and knows me how pitiful I deserve. I mean, in singing, but in loving Leander, the good swimmer, Troilus, the first employer of pandas, and a whole bookful of these quondam carpetmongers whose names yet run smoothly in the even road of a blank verse, why, they were never so truly turned over and over as my poor self in love. Marry, I cannot show it in rhyme. I've tried. I can find out no rhyme for lady, but baby, an innocent rhyme. For scorn, horn, a hard rhyme. For school, fool, a babbling rhyme. Very ominous endings. No, I was not born under a rhyming planet, nor I cannot womb in festival terms. Sweet Beatrice, wouldst thou come when I called?
Yea, Signor, and depart when you bid me.
Oh, stay but till then.
Then was spoken. Fare you well now. Yet, ere I go, let me go with what I came, which is with knowing what hath passed between you and Claudio.
Only foul words, and thereupon I will kiss thee.
Foul words is but foul wind, and foul wind is but foul breath, and foul breath is noisome. Therefore I will depart unkissed.
Thou hast frighted the word out of his right sense, so forcible is thy wit. But I must tell thee plainly, Claudio undergoes my challenge, and either I must shortly hear from him, or I will subscribe him a coward. And I pray thee now, tell me, for which of my bad parts didst thou first fall in love with me?
For them all together, which maintained so politic a state of evil, they would not allow any good parts to intermingle with them. But for which of my good parts did you first suffer love for me?
Suffer love, a good epithet. I do suffer love indeed, for I love thee against my will.
In spite of your heart, I think. Alas, poor heart. If you spite it for my sake, I will spite it for yours, for I will never love that which my friend hates.
Thou and I are too wise to woo peaceably.
It appears not in this confession. There's not one wise man among 20 that will praise himself.
An old instance, Beatrice, that lived in the line of good neighbours. If a man do not erect in this age his own tomb ere he dies, he shall live no longer in a monument than the bell rings and the widow weeps. And now, tell me, how doth your cousin?
Very ill.
And how do you?
Very ill, too.
Serve God, love me, and mend. There will I leave you too, for here comes one in haste.
Madam, you must come to your uncle. Yonder's old coil at home. It is proved my lady hero hath been falsely accused, the prince and Claudio mightily abused, and Don John is the author of all, who is fled and gone. Will you come presently?
Will you come hear those news, Signor?
I will live in thy heart, die in thy lap, and be buried in thy eyes. And moreover, I will go to thee to thy uncle's.
Is this the monument of Leonato?
It is, my lord.
Done to death by slanderous tongues was the hero that here lies. Death, in guerdon of her wrongs, gives her fame that never dies. So the life that died in shame lives in death in glorious fame. Hang thou there upon the tomb, praising her when I am dumb. Pardon, goddess of the night, those that slew your virgin night, for the which with songs of woe round about her tomb will go. Midnight, assist our moan, help us to sigh and groan heavily. Heavily. Graves, yawn and yield your dead till death be uttered. Heavily. So unto thy bones good night. Yearly will I do this right.
Good morrow, master. Put your torches out. The wolves have preyed. And look, the gentle day, before the wheels of Phoebus, round about dapples the drowsy east with spots of gray. Thanks to you all, and leave us. Fare you well.
Good morrow, masters. Each your several way.
Come, let us hence, and put on other weed, and then to Leonato's we will go.
And Hymen now with luckier issue speeds than this for whom we rendered up this woe.
Did I not tell you she was innocent?
So are the prince and Claudio, who accused her upon the error that you heard debated. But Margaret was in some fault for this, although against her will, as it appears in the true course of all the question.
Well, I am glad that all things sort so well.
So am I, being else by faith and force to call young Claudio to a reckoning for it.
Well, daughter, and you gentlewomen all, withdraw into a chamber by yourselves, and when I send for you, come hither masked. The Prince and Claudio promised by this hour to visit me. Now, you know your office, brother. You must be father to your brother's daughter and give her to young Claudio.
Which I will do with confirmed countenance.
Friar, I must entreat your pains, I think.
To do what, Signor?
To bind me, or undo me, one of them. Signor Leonato, truth it is, good Signor, your niece regards me with an eye of favour.
That I, my daughter, have lent her. 'Tis most true.
And I do with an eye of love requite her.
The sight whereof I think you had from me, from Claudio and the Prince. But what's your will?
Your answer, sir, is enigmatical. But for my will is your goodwill may stand with ours, this day to be conjoined in the state of honourable marriage, in which, good friar, I shall desire your help.
My heart is with your liking.
And my help. Here comes the Prince and Claudio.
Good morrow to this fair assembly.
Good morrow, Prince. Good morrow, Claudio. We here attend you. Are you yet determined today to marry with my brother's daughter?
Aye.
Call her forth, brother. Here's the friar ready.
Good morrow, Benedick. Why, what's the matter that you have such a February face, so full of frost, of storm and cloudiness?
I think he thinks upon the savage bull. Tush, fear not, man. We'll tip thy horns with gold, and all Europa shall rejoice in thee, as all Europa did at lusty Jove when he would play the noble beast in love.
All Jove, sir, had an amiable low, and some such strange bull leapt your father's cow, and got a calf in that same noble feat, much like to you, for you have just his bleat.
For this I owe you. Here come other reckonings. Which is the lady I must seize upon?
This same is she, and I do give you her.
Why then, she's mine. Sweet, let me see your face.
No, that you shall not till you take her hand before this friar and swear to marry her.
Give me your hand. Before this holy friar, I am your husband, if you like of me.
And when I lived, I was your other wife. And when you loved, you were my other husband.
Another hero.
Nothing certain. One hero died defiled, but I do live. And surely as I live, I am a maid.
Former hero? The hero that is dead?
She died, my lord, but whilst her slander lived.
All this amazement can I qualify when after that the holy rites are ended. Now I'll tell you largely of fair hero's death. Meantime, let wonders seem familiar, and let us presently to the chapel.
Soft and fair friar, which is Beatrice?
I answer to that name. What is your will?
Do not you love me?
Why, no. No more than reason.
Why, then your uncle and the Prince and Claudio have been deceived. They swore you did.
Do not you love me?
Troth, no. No more than reason.
Well then, my cousin, Margaret and Ursula were much deceived, for they did swear you did.
They swore that you were almost sick for me. A miracle. Here's our own hands against our hearts. Come, I will have thee. But by this night I take thee for pity.
I will not deny you, But by this good day I yield upon great persuasion, and partly to save your life, for I was told you were in a consumption.
Peace.
How doth Benedick, the married man?
I'll tell thee what, Prince. A college of wit-crackers cannot flout me out of my humour. Dost thou think I care for a satire and epigram? No. If a man will be beaten with brains, I shall wear nothing handsome about him. In brief, since I do purpose to marry, I will think nothing to any purpose that the world can say against it, and therefore never flout at me for what I've said against it. For man is a giddy thing, and this is my conclusion. For thy part, Claudio, I did think to have beaten thee, but in that thou art like to be my kinsman, live unbruised and love my cousin.
I well hoped thou wouldst have denied Beatrice, that I might have cudgelled thee out of thy single life to make thee a double dealer. Which, out of question, thou wilt be, if my cousin does not look exceedingly narrowly to thee.
Come, we are friends. Let's have a dance ere we are married, that we may lighten our own hearts and our wives' heels.
We'll have dancing afterward.
First, of my word, therefore play music. Prince, thou art sad. Get thee a wife, get thee a wife. There's no staff more reverend than one tipped with horn.
My lord, your brother John is ta'en in flight and brought with armed men back to Messina.
Think not on him till tomorrow. I'll devise thee brave punishments for him. Strike up, pipers.